And now I've just ruined the 15 meters or 16.4 yards. So if you're putting cones up, I guarantee you they're going to be moved or kicked before the event's over, because people are just back into them and go and throw it away, because you should be more concerned about watching the strokes rather than policing the deck. Underwater touch. Everything's legal. Now, that was legal. Laura, here. Come in and do that double under spear. You know, I guarantee you'll see this year if she can do it.
Sorry.
She can't do it. It's just impossible for the mind to do something illegal. What I was trying to get her to do is come in and take that second arm pull and spear underwater. And I guarantee you will see that this year and you'll make that call. Remember it, because you'll say, Dixon told me about that call. Backstroke in the individual medley, transitioning from back to breast. That's legal. She touched on her back. The bigger kids will actually do a flip turn. She can't do that. So, question. The question was, her shoulder was above. Is there a point where what we're looking for is going past that vertical? We'll give them to the vertical, but if they go past, if she were to come in and like look for the wall and do one of these and then come back, good question, thank you.
Either side, right? If they do this past 90 or this past 90.
Well, if they're coming over this way, that's not the purpose of what they're doing. They're trying to look, they're coming in because if I'm gonna do a flip over my back, I'm looking. If I go this way, I'm wasting my stroke because I'm here. Now I've got to rotate back. If I go here, it's more efficient. The question is, if they come off the wall, do a flip turn on your back and come off on your stomach or off towards it. Did everybody see that? How she did a regular turn. When she pushed off, she was actually about like this, kicking underwater and then rotated over. Can you make that call from the middle of the pool? On backstroke and on the turns, you better be at least by the backstroke flags, because you're going to have sun glare, water chop from the other lanes. And if you're to the end of the day, you're fatigued. So you have to be in position to make these calls. And everything, most of it is all taking place underwater. Do you want to see anything else demonstrated?
Can we see that again?
Do that turn again on your stomach. She's coming in, everything's going to be legal. Turns over, that's legal. She came off, sort of like this, doing a dolphin kick. You can't call that from down there. You got to be pretty close to that lane or over here. And that's why if you're working to meet with me on the backstroke and freestyle, I'm going to tell my officials, stand at the turns and watch the turns. Don't walk the deck. And again, I've been doing this for years. And yet I go to meets and there's officials running up and down the pool for the freestyle. What are they looking at? I mean, you can do it from here, and especially if you have another official at the other end. Turns are critical. Some part of the body has to touch. Finish, some part of the body has to touch. Any other questions? Now, I want to touch on relays. Relay swimmer, Laura, swimming in high school. She's probably, in this league, you probably have swimmers that have been on the same team for 10 years. They know everything about each other. So if she was my teammate, as soon as she hits that backstroke flag, I know that I am going to start to explode off that block. And everybody around saying, well, that's a false start because I was moving when her head hit the backstroke flag. I can be horizontal with one toe, my big toe still maintaining contact with that block. I'm horizontal. That's perfectly legal. At the NCAAs and at the Olympics, they have an official sitting on the table. They have a pad that they can call. The computer will call it because they're so close. We don't do that here, thank God, and we don't do it at high school. But the NCAAs, there's an official sitting up there looking at the computer, and what you're focusing on are the toes on the block and their hand. Don't be looking up here. Look at the feet, and you're watching the hands touch and the feet. Now on the medley relay, where it's back, breast, butterfly, and any other stroke, the breaststroker's coming in, and he gets to about there, and I start to explode. Now what happens, the breaststroker comes in and decides he's going to take another stroke. So I have already committed, and he decides to take another stroke, and his hands are here when I'm leaving the blocks. Now, the freestyler is going to get called with the DQ, but it was the breaststroker's fault. Because the breaststroker decided to take another stroke. And once I commit, I can't levitate back up. I mean, it's a one-way trip. I've committed. I've got to go. And so if you're doing the medley relay, which is basically the beginning of the meet, you're watching the toes, but watch that breaststroker, because if he takes that second arm pull, it's automatic, especially if I've committed. So you can't watch relays from halfway down the pool. You have to be up at the starting end, and really you're concentrating on the toes on the block, the hands coming in. Don't get looking at the head, the legs. Just focus on the feet and watch that hand. And again, depending on where the sun is, you're going to have sun glare coming in. You're going to have water chop. You're going to have a lot of things going on, and you have to make sure you're called. Hopefully the referee will be in position. If you're working with me and you're on the other side and we look at it, I might go, in other words, it was too close. Or I'll look at you and go, I agree with you. It's called dual confirmation. It's not necessary, but normally I will help the official on the other side on the relays. And it's just a help. Question.
You want to talk about signaling between those people?
The question is about signaling. Remember, if you're on the other side and I'm on this side, you have to get the word to me. I think at Stonegate, don't you have headsets?
We don't use the CCD. We don't use headsets in CCD. Or signal.
Oh, but do you still use them? Stonegate has headsets. They have 8-lane pool.
So do we.
And what? Oh, okay, yeah, of course. You guys redid your pool. Yes. How do you DQ? Question was, if this is lane 1, I'm going to signal with a finger. In high school, we just hold a hand. We don't indicate lane numbers. But here, indicate the lane number. This is 6. How do you do?
7 up, 8.
7 up, 8. So this is where if you go to Cherry Creek Vista or Stonegate, this is where you talk to the referee and find out how do you want the hand signals. So this is up, that's 7. This is 8. If it was in lane 6 and it's only a 6-lane pool, You can just do that. Thank you, that's a good question. Anything you can do to help the referee. You know, if he's starting and they're yelling over here, shush him. Just help the referee anyway.
And CCD, we signal from one end of the pool to the other because the card is here, the infraction is there.
Good point, thank you. Question is, we're at the other end. I'm up here. You can signal down to the other official down here, or meet halfway. Or the referee, if I'm there, I may walk down and say, what did you get? Okay? If you're at the other end and you see the violation down there, rather than run up, signal to the people up here what the violation was. Okay? Any other questions for my swimmer?
Well, it's on the relays. Active rolling pickups are legal, right? As long as I put...
Yeah. Okay, good question here. Good question. On the relays, you'll see the more experienced teams, they will stand back off the front edge of the block. And it's called a rolling start. As they're coming in, I step forward and throw. As long as I'm maintaining contact with the pool, with the edge of that block, I'm legal. But that's a good question. Good question, good question. The question is, do you want to stay down here for every stroke? For the freestyle, yeah, because we don't need to be walking the deck. But for the medley relay, you're going to watch the start. That's a backstroke start, so you make sure that the swimmer lip it. Backstroke lip. This is where you come in. The referee starter will say, place your feet, take your mark. And he fires them off. Do you see her toes? See how they're curled over the front edge? That's your call. Referee may not see that over on the far side, but if you see that, we want them to push off from the flat of the wall. And if you see that the swimmer over here curled the toes over the edge, you make that call. Because, question is, he doesn't see how that will be an advantage. If you were in there pushing off from the flat of the pool, flat of the wall, that is a definite advantage. You have hooked those toes over there, and you really are getting those extensors out.
They don't have to be under the surface of the water. They just have to be
Question is, they don't have to be under the surface. Up until a couple years ago, they had to be under the surface. Starting last year, they no longer have to be under the surface, but they can't be up on the lip or anything like that. What you'll see more than that is after the gun, they're going to pull themselves up and jam their foot up there and then push off. And what we found at the USA and high school level is when they jammed their foot, they were damaging the ligaments in their foot and they were causing injuries. So they just eliminated it altogether. You have to push off from the flat of the wall. But that's definite advantage compared to someone pushing off the flat end. And again, what we're looking for is for the swimmer not to have an unfair advantage over the other swimmer. If I'm pushing off from the wall and she's pushing off from the lip, she has definitely had more leverage than I have. Good question. The people that have done it before, any questions? Did we miss anything? Yes.
Once you DQ somebody, can you keep DQing them for other...
Good question. The question is, once you DQ a swimmer, do you still keep watching them and DQing them for other events or for other violations? Yeah. You know, go in and say, hey, I got you on a flutter kick coming off the wall. I got you for an alternating arm pull. But again, what we don't want is you sit there and talk to them for 5 minutes. You know, I think we have 95 legal events, and they can put up to 40 additional. It's a long day. And so just explain it to them, get back over the other side, and get ready for the next one. Good question, though. The heat should be pretty comparable, unless you have the state swimmer, and he's blown out a half a length ahead. Your primary focus should be on the lead swimmers. I mean, you want to make sure the person that wins or comes second or third, they did it legally. And then after they touch, then you pick up the rest. But if the lead swimmer's here and you watch him go off, and I'm down the other end, well, you TO them to me, and then you watch your other swimmers come in. But normally, that'll become a factor at the league meet when everybody is pretty equal. Here, you're going to have some separation pretty quickly. Good question. Questions? Anybody want a stroke demonstrated anymore? We good on the demonstrations? You want to see something? Okay. All right, well then do something that you've been DQ'd on. Any stroke, let's see it. Now she's going to say, I've never been DQ'd. What are you asking me to do? What was it? And on the little kids, when they start, they dive in, they have one thought in mind: breathe. And they go down and they don't care about the legalities of the stroke. They just want to kick to the surface. And whatever way they can get there, they're going to do it. Okay, don't bring your head up on the breast. And that's what you're looking for, because they're going to do right. And you're going to see that predominantly on the start and the turns. Again, the little kids are going to get under there. Breathing is critical. And question is, well, the arms can't come past the hips after that first arm pull at the start of the turn, but they can be on the surface of the water and they can be under the water. If they're out of the water, we have a coaching technique that we need to work on. Okay. Just a minute. He wants to. That was real close on that head breaking the surface on that second arm pull. Oh.
Would you call that illegal?
That's where I'm saying, don't get so bogged down on that. We're, not at this league. At the state championships in 3 weeks, we'll be watching that. Question?
In the past, sometimes you get resistance from coaches not wanting to tell the 6 and unders that they've been DQ'd. Is that something you can clarify? Is that something that's...
I wasn't aware of this, but evidently some coaches have said, we don't want you talking to the 6 and unders about a DQ. We don't listen to the coaches. The league bylaws say we talk to the swimmers. You make every opportunity to talk to that swimmer. We're not working for the coaches. We're out here following the league bylaws. And half the coaches don't know the rules anyhow. Don't tell them I said that, because all of a sudden I'll be criticized at the state meet when they say, well, Dan, you told everybody, I don't know what I'm talking about. But they know the rules, but they don't know the rules. Any other questions? These are good questions. Keep them coming.